Radio. This is Walid Chaya.
This is Kavita Raj.
And you're listening to Lights
Camera
Convo. And we're here with Roxy Shih. Yeah. Hey Roxy, how are you?
Hello. Oh my god, I'm like sandwiched between two very sexy people. And
we are so happy you're here.
I'm so
Be our peanut butter and jelly.
Yes.
I'm honored. I'm blushing so hard right
Roxy
now.
Shih is an Emmy and Critics' Choice nominated director and writer, my dear friend, LA artiste, fellow podcaster as well.
Thank you.
And today we're going to go down memory lane and talk about your journey.
Oh god. Okay, I will let you guide me. You're gonna be my guru.
We're going to do it. Roxy, you have done so much, up to today. You've been an inspiration to me personally.
Stop.
Roxy, you and I met because you've come in to teach master classes with students that train with me. For those of you listening that don't know, I am also an acting school teacher for Studio for Performing Arts Los Angeles.
And my daughter Rian Lara's first acting coach.
Yes.
And the one that connected them with their agent and manager, everything in New York. Started that acting journey for them
in
when
New
they
York.
moved there.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Full circle, full circle.
Yes.
Did you guys meet in LA?
We met in LA, yes. We correct. Roxy and I met in Los Angeles, and I've gotten to see through the years of you coming in to teach, and just Instagram is so helpful to keep in touch when we're not in touch.
Right.
The great things you're doing. Just to highlight them really quick, you're going to join us today as we dive into Roxy's dynamic career. She's a Taiwanese American director making a mark in film. Yes, baby. Nominated for Best Directing at the Daytime Emmys for Dark Web. She's also directed episodes for The Haunted Museum. Notably, List of a Lifetime, Roxy, your feature for Breast Awareness Month, earned nominations at the 2022 Critics' Choice Awards.
Lovely.
That's incredible. You've done so much.
Those are two incredible nominations to have. Critics' Choice and the Emmys.
I think Andrew Garfield is in love with me.
Oh, okay.
Garfield and
Andrew,
yes.
There we have it.
Yeah.
It's an iHeartRadio exclusive.
A love story.
Yes.
And Roxy, your talents extend beyond that. You've also done Facebook Watch's Mira Mira, right? And Hulu's Painkillers. And let's not forget your Taiwanese American Film Festival, which I want to hear much more about during today's episode.
Yes.
And your podcast, Two Horny Goats, with your co-host Priska.
Yes.
Hi, Priska.
So funny. This is incredible. How long have you been podcasting?
Honestly, since the pandemic, when I die, I want to have the most intimidating resume on my tombstone, and my eulogy needs to list everything I've ever done. So that is my goal in life.
Yes,
Yeah.
director, writer, podcaster. I mean,
now that we know,
keep adding to the list.
we could just play the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, well, the podcast is really great. Yeah, I mean, as a Capricorn, that's why we're called
Capricorn.
Yeah, that's why we're two
Are you
Capricorns.
December or January?
I'm a January Capricorn. What
and
about you?
And you said your partner, your podcast partner is also
Yes,
Capricorn.
that's why we're two horny goats.
Oh my God. that is so
the
funny.
Capricorns. Glad you shared.
I'm Aquarius in January.
I
So right after you guys.
You're a January.
Yeah, I didn't make the
Aquarius.
cut. I didn't make the Capricorn
No,
cut. I just
stop it.
feel
I
left
freaking
out of
love-
the.
I'm an Aquarius rising.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
good.
I get it.
Okay.
That's why I think like you're. I don't know. I'm like she's gorgeous.
Well, it doesn't. I don't know if you know, but I'm a Gemini rising.
I'm a Gemini.
Virgo moon.
I'm a Gemini. Yeah, we've been getting into a lot of horoscopes on our show.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a
very-
new
it's
segment.
keeping up with Gen Z, right?
Totally.
That's like the first question.
You
the
need to
kids-
speak
the-
horoscope language with
The
Gen
kids
Z.
these days, that's the
Yes.
first question. They don't care who you are, what you do.
Kavita, I'm a cool mom.
Yeah, I am a cool man.
You are. I love you, Kavita. Roxy, your podcast, Two Horny Goats, it can be found on all platforms, yeah?
Correct.
Look, we couldn't even finish reading her bio. We have been chatting before the podcast, guys, just so you all know. We've been chatting before the podcast and rolling laughing. We had to literally wipe the tears and sit here.
They fed
and,
me wine.
actually- yeah, we did. Cheers,
Yes,
talking about wine.
They fed you wine.
Cheers.
So if they feed me wine, I'm gonna just start.
Cheers.
I hope you guys are
Cheers,
listening and
cheers.
having a drink of your choice. We're having a nice white over here, a white wine. And we're going to be diving into all things Roxy today. Roxy, you're feeling good. Kavita, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Had a wonderful week and super excited to chat with Roxy. This is going to be one of the finest episodes. You guys are just going to be in love with all of the things that we have to chat about today.
Yes, exactly.
Roxy, the name, that's your full name?
It's actually Roxana, but
Okay.
then my parents, tried to name me Jennifer. Can you imagine if my name
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
With Jennifer Shih.
You give more
was
Roxy.
my
You're
life would be
Roxy.
so
You don't give me a
different.
Jennifer.
Yeah. But then my grandmother couldn't pronounce Jennifer, so then they looked into a book and they're like, oh, Roxana sounds great, and it's Persian. So therefore, I am now Roxy.
Oh,
And
lovely.
your family is not Persian.
No, we're
at
fully
all.
Taiwanese.
Correct.
Yes.
But that's a great name.
Yeah, so then everyone calls me Losana, Losan, Losan, Losan. So now I don't even know what my name is anymore. It's more like, hey, right? So that's.
Well, we know who you are. It's Roxy Shih in the house. See,
Hi. Da, 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 da.
Yes, if you know Chicago the musical, you know that Renee Zellweger.
I haven't
played
murdered
her
my husband yet.
in the
Roxanne.
Oscar-winning film.
I know that's another song. It's another name. Sorry.
I'm not a prostitute yet either, but maybe I
my
will be one day.
gosh.
Hey, I thought you said that you were multi-hyphenate.
I am. You know what?
Oh my God,
That's still on my
Kavita.
things left to do.
And I thought that we're not
Yeah.
shaming people that do a
No,
lot of
not
different
at
things.
all. Not at all. Not at all.
Oh
that's
my
about-
gosh,
so that's the
I'm
next
dead.
My manager
For you
said,
and
don't
me.
get mad at me. You said I can't do that stuff.
Exactly. We're gonna keep
But we're
some
keeping all options
hyphenates.
open.
Yeah, we'll keep some doors open and unlocked. So we're going to play a game with you, Roxy, to get to know you.
Okay.
It's a game of this or that. And the goal is to respond as quickly as possible without overthinking. And Kavita, your goal is to read as
Walid
quickly
believes
as
me every
possible.
week.
Okay. I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
Okay, we're gonna do 2 rounds.
Okay.
30 seconds each round.
Okay.
Are you ready,
Yes,
team?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Action or drama?
Action.
Ice cream cone or milkshake?
Ice cream cone.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Flowers or succulents?
Succulents.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Fine dining or street food?
Fine dining, bitch.
Beach or movies?
Movies.
Classic films or indie films?
Indie films.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Board games or video games?
Video games.
Marvel or DC?
Neither.
Reality TV or documentary series?
Documentary.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Hot chocolate or mulled wine?
Mulled wine.
Travel or staycation?
Staycation.
Ooh, and that's our time.
Wow, I'm.
Right.
Yay, that was fun.
That was good. We, I think, did a good amount. Kavita, you're
Not
reading
bad,
a lot
not bad.
quicker these days.
It only took me 13 episodes, but here I am.
Time
Yes.
to psychoanalyze me. Psychoanalyze me now.
Well,
Ollie,
you know,
psychoanalyze me.
well, I learned a lot about you.
You are bougie.
You're bougie.
You
a
like
bit.
the finer things in life.
Earth sign, yes.
You are not going to rough it out.
And did you say nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that was interesting for me. I thought you'd say fiction.
Nonfiction.
Oh, my.
That's where you
You're
pull all the
smartish.
real. I'm alright. That's where you pull all the real shit from.
Right, it's a lot of the inspiration based on a...
Nonfiction is always more intense and more devastating and more inspirational than fiction.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that too. We're going to go for another round. Are you both ready?
Yes.
Okay, round 2, this or that with Roxy Shih begins now. Early bird breakfast or late night snack?
Early.
Breakfast for dinner or dinner for breakfast?
Dinner for breakfast.
Comedy club or live concert?
Live concert.
Snapchat or TikTok?
Neither.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Skiing or snowboarding?
Neither.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
DIY projects or spa day?
DIY.
Vintage or modern?
Vintage.
Superhero or villain?
Villain.
Spontaneous or planner?
Planner.
Vintage or trendy fashions?
Vintage.
Pizza or beer?
Pizza.
Gourmet cooking or food truck?
Gourmet cooking.
Ooh, yummy. I think we'd have some good food together this crew here. Yes, all right. You know, Kavita's a home chef.
Caviar. Sorry, I don't know.
I would. You know what? I'm going to incorporate caviar in one of my
Oh my
next,
gosh.
like,
You
meals.
just give me elegance and sophistication and good
Yes.
taste. You know?
Thank you so much.
As someone who's made the worst
are you
dress list.
listening? Kids, are you listening? I have managed to trick somebody.
Oh no, Kavita, you have great taste.
Thank you.
It's
thank
not
you.
a false
But you
front.
know, I don't hear that in my own
Why?
home. So it's
Well, because she has 2 kids that are
Yes, that's
millennials,
right.
Gen Z,
Teenagers.
that are always ratting on
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
There's joning on
They're
her. as
bullying
they
me
say.
constantly.
Oh my God, I'm so
I know.
sorry. You gotta
Thank you.
get back your Empress energy. You know
Thank
what I
you.
mean?
That's right.
Thank you.
So we're gonna dive in and talk more, Roxy, about you. Let's start with sharing a moment in your career where you felt you've reached a significant milestone.
I actually have to say Critic's Choice was the moment
Yeah.
because I walked the red carpet. I wore a dress that I thought was really hot that made the worst dress list.
It's
But
so
I
funny.
was honored, honestly, because I was on there with Kristen Wiig and James
Oh,
And then
Beautiful.
under the caption, they're like, this Taiwanese American director. director wore something that does not flatter her body.
What?
And I was just like, but it's okay. I accept, and I'm just like honored to be mentioned. But it was wild because, to this day, to that moment, all I did was open directing assignments. I've never directed a feature or, anything that was mine. And in that moment, it was wild because it's such an honor to be at an A-list award event. But
so brilliant.
I had a huge sense of falseness. So I didn't feel...
What do they call it? The imposter syndrome?
It's
not
not
that.
exactly imposter syndrome. It was more so of the fact, like, if I'm able to get here directing a job, for example, imagine what I could accomplish if I actually listened to myself and if I honored my own story and my own perspective. And, Jane Campion was there, Taika Waititi was there, and we were next to Yellow Jackets, and Squid Game was on the carpet with us, and that director, just
Oh my God.
gave his entire life to make that show. And, it was more so the fact that I was chasing this idea of becoming someone and like being successful, trying to prove to everyone that you can be a director in this body, being fat, being queer, being all these things, just to prove that. But I ignored my own voice and I put it in the back burner for so long. And that was the moment where everything shifted and I started saying no to almost everything after that.
Wow.
And then it took me a while to finally, feel connected to a project that I really want to invest my soul in, and that became this movie that I can't talk about because the name is changing and also we're premiering soon and I can't talk about. But it is the best. It is the best movie I've ever made, and it's like with the best people I've ever had on my above the line team. And and now I'm in a different place. I'm in different rooms. Something very fucking exciting happened last week beyond my dreams that I also can't talk about.
Oh my gosh.
But that difficulty, that gap, that transition, that starving, that fasting aspect after you come to a moment like that changes everything.
You know what? For you to recognize what you have right now, this experience of doing something that you are so passionate about, coming right on the heels of the opportunity before that, the awards before that, that seems like a great transitionary life moment, right? It's something that you were able to like introspect and be like, I want to create this.
Yeah.
I want to be part of the creation process. I want to be part of the writing process, be part of this, developing process.
But there's a grief to that too, because you have to say no to everyone who was hiring you before.
Right.
You kind of have to kill these relationships in the most graceful way. And you have to be okay with being like, I don't have any money coming in, and then I remembered I was struggling because like I was a producer, like a line producer before. And, I was just, I'm also a psychic, but so, I do tarot readings. Yeah, I have like 5 jobs.
What?
So I was like really leaning on my spiritual practice to get me through my rent. And then, my friend who's now a very successful producer was like, well, Rox, here's $12K for 8 days of work as a production manager. Like, do you want to do that? And even though my practical side was like, I need this, my soul said, no.
Wow.
That must have been one of the hardest.
It was so hard.
How does one walk away from that? We're just talking about this industry and surviving in it, and that is like, but to listen to your gut.
It's so fucking hard. And I think that like we're living in this reality, of like needing to survive, but how powerful is it for us to reclaim our own power and have us write the rules?
And that leaning into your spiritual gift, that connection that you have, I think has been very amazing for
it's
you.
been
I
life-changing.
think that is people having that special ability is really incredible.
It's special and it really makes you unique in its own way. Roxy, we're going to continue talking about your film List of a Lifetime, which received a Critics' Choice nomination. So exciting. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the challenges in making that project.
What was wild was that was the most smooth and seamless and joyful production I've ever
Wow.
had. I think because we made it thinking it was so low stakes, like we never thought it would get where it did. I'll be honest. honest, we all thought that, but it's because of the breast cancer aspect. We all know someone who has gone through it. It is definitely an unspoken demon for women. And so we were able to get Kelly Hu and Shannon Doherty. Shannon Doherty is still a survivor. She still carries stage 4 breast cancer. And everyone that came on the project did it out of love. The crew was mostly queer people, and a lot of Asians, a lot of women. It felt really safe. We had spirit days every week. Like, we would all do space buns. All the men had to do space buns. We all wore red for Lunar New Year. Like, it was just such a spirited, lively, low stakes set. And I think that energy really permeated into the love of the film. And it went beyond what any of us expected because of that.
It was so easy and comfortable, sounds like.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh my God, it just felt like comfort.
It was so, it just felt like fun, It's like, it really trickled from the top down, I feel like so many things in Hollywood is like, you must give yourself, you must sacrifice yourself, these long days, these cold nights, and like, you gotta make 3 movies a year. And we were just like, you know what? We get to determine the culture of our film. We get to determine the culture of how we run our set. And for me, it's all about finding joy, and when you have that joy, you're able to dive more deeply into those harder to talk about moments, right, with your actors.
Yeah.
So you need to cultivate that safety. And how do you do that? By being joyful, right?
Roxy, you're a ray of sunshine and so joyful.
Thank
I
you.
mean, you radiate joy.
Thank you.
You spark joy, baby.
Thank you. Spark, spark, spark.
Spark, spark, spark. So, Roxy, take us back to what initially sparked your interest in writing and directing. Did you love this as a kid?
Yeah.
Honestly, when I was younger, my dream was to become a flight attendant.
A flight attendant.
But then I'm too short and I'm too fat, and also I'm scared of turbulence.
Oh, yeah, well.
Yeah, that's a really big one.
Like problem.
I
With all
know,
these
that's really,
doors opening.
I know. That's like
Did you see
really,
that?
That didn't work out.
Yeah, it's just like doors opening.
And then I wanted to be a drag queen. That was like my second dream.
Fun.
But then at that time, I got a lot of pushback from the queer community because I would be a faux queen and not a real queen. Because
You can be a drag king.
But I really want to go into like, the femme,
Yes.
like pushing.
You want to do the...
I want to be
look.
avocado, ava, and then cadeau en français for gift because I'm a present, avocado.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I
So
would
you've
be.
got the name sorted out.
I have my identity
You have
all sorted
everything
out.
all, like-
I'd be like a big tittied, kimono wearing, like
Drag queen.
Vogue. Yeah,
I love it.
But
When
then-
you're not at the Emmys, when you're not nominated
Right.
for like, Critics' Choice.
Right,
Yeah, you
right.
can find Roxy.
Right.
Drag.
Avocado.
Right. So then I was like, well, none of this worked out, so maybe I should pursue a career in entertainment. And then
Said nobody
said
ever.
nobody ever. But I started off.
Really, you're about taking the easy way out.
I know. I was like, you know what? I got born into this life. Let's just try the hard shit because I'm a Capricorn, right? So then I started off in post-production. I was actually an editor first.
Okay.
So I did like commercials, editing. I got laid off. And then at that time, I never went to film school. I came to LA with no connections. And I was doing door-to-door soliciting for some random creepy company on Craigslist, right? And then I just thought, what are my strengths? And I said, I think my voice is quite powerful, and I think I love galvanizing people. What is that? And I was like, oh, is that producing? So then I started doing D-list movies. Like, I just threw myself out there. Like, I was just doing whatever. I was saying yes to everything, creating community in all different types of spaces, right? And then I produced like media brands, like it all just started happening. But I was so burnt out. I did like 12 micro budget features. And then one day, this directing thing was such a pipe dream because at that time it was before the gender and inclusion movement was happening.
Yes.
And one of my directors, a director called Jason Cartalian who did Seahorses, I produced his movie for him for like $25K. And then he said, he was like, Roxy, I see you every year like making a short film with your friends as a director. And he said, no one's gonna take you seriously until you make a feature. And then I said, look at me. I was like, I don't have anything. I'm like, look at me. People like me do not succeed as a director. It's not that I wasn't being like hopeful. I was being really pragmatic.
Yeah,
and I said,
yeah.
I said 0.2% of women are working as directors,
Yeah.
not even famous, working. And then he said, I'll give you my Red Scarlet, because at the time that was all the rage.
That was the camp.
You know? And he goes, I'm a partner at Burns &
Yeah.
Sawyer. You have all the G&E that you can need. You have no excuse. You have a camera in your hands. What
Okay.
are you going to do now?
Well,
You're going to do it. That's what you're going to do.
You're gonna do it. And then so wild, crazy shit happened after that. Like, once that was implanted in my brain, I'm like, what's my excuse? What's my
the
excuse?
can do.
Yeah. I'm
And
like,
then
He
I
was
was
your
like, go for
fairy
it.
godmother.
he was like
He
he was. And then, like, you know, and then 2 weeks after, I was editing this music video with my friend Ian, and then Ian was like, hey, I have this script that I wrote a few years ago that got a lot of really good notes from somewhere. He goes, can you read it and see if it could get produced? I read it. I'm gonna try and finish this up really fast. I read it and I was like, holy
your
shit. With my producing background, I was able to break it down right away when I read it. I was like, I can make this movie for $100,000. I can make it for 13 days. In 13 days, 1 major location, 5 actors. I can do it.
That's the producer that came out.
Wow.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
And
the
I was
production
like,
background helped
yes.
figure this out so
My editing
quickly.
background helped me as a director. My producing background helped me as a director. Everything is meant for you. Like, even if you feel
Yeah.
like you're not where you're supposed to be,
Yeah.
you have a different
You are
tool belt.
learning.
Yeah.
You're freaking learning. Look at how this
Yeah.
helped you be like, I can actually do this in those
Yes.
13 days.
You have skills in different parts of your experience that nobody
Definitely.
else has.
You've made the most out of your opportunities and
Yeah.
skills as well.
Yeah, and you know what? When
Squeeze it.
people do tell us that, oh my God, no, this is going to cost this much and this is going to take you this long, there are parts of me that's like, no, I know that we can get this done in this much time
Absolutely.
with this much budget. So
Absolutely. So then, during that year, things happened so quickly. I was like, I want to direct this movie. Can I direct this movie? And Ian's like, why the fuck not? Can't you
Yeah.
direct this movie? So then I was like, okay, I'm being really delulu right now. Pulled out a line of credit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But I did it, and it's paid off, and it's fine now. But at the time, it was really harrowing. I went to my parents and was like, I never was smart enough to get a master's degree. Consider this my master's if you're willing to contribute some. They're like, fine, we'll give you some, right? I kickstarted the rest of the money. I got $80K.
ooh,
And I was like, let's fucking do it. All my
Fundraising skills.
friends from all the things I've ever produced galvanized together. Roxy, we will help you. $100 a day. Let's go.
wow.
And then I shot the movie in November of 2016. Yeah.
Wow.
Roxy.
I know.
Who does
I
that?
am in-
Nobody does
Really
that.
high risk.
You.
High risk
Inspired.
choice.
Yeah,
You did that.
clearly. Oh my God.
And what was the title of that project?
The Tribe.
That was The Tribe. Okay, that was The Tribe.
Wow.
Wow. And so it really sounds like, this
I'm
person
inspired.
was a mentor to you.
I think, yeah, he was. He
In a way.
definitely was at that time. I think you just need people around you to shift your thinking about yourself. You write a story about yourself, and is it true? If you believe it, it's true,
Right.
But then all it takes is like redefining who you are.
He saw that spark in you. He saw that ability. He saw that talent, and
Yeah.
you showed it.
Yes.
And it's a coming together of two great minds,
Oh,
two good people.
thank you.
Two good energies.
Yeah.
That want the best for each other.
Of course.
And I'm
Yes.
moved. I'm actually like so inspired.
They say it takes a village, and he really showed up. And we're going
Yeah.
to talk more about the characters in your village. Yes. And Roxy, are you active on social media? Do people follow you there? Or do you prefer your site? What's the best way for listeners
to
be
find
up
your
to date
work
about
and to
your
catch
work?
up with you.
I guess-
IMDb?
Honestly, I've become such a hermit after my career jump. But I guess Instagram is still the millennial way
Okay.
of reaching me. So
Sure.
it's at Roxy Shih. Just
Yeah,
my name.
perfect. Yeah, we're still an
ROXY.
Instagram generation, girlfriend. We're not like
know.
we're not yet like super on.
No, I just feel like
bad
it's so
on-
awkward to post something now. Like, remember, like back in the day, we would post our coffee.
I know.
Oh, everything.
and,
Remember
like,
that?
we would
Yeah.
post
It's
something
now,
like
it's
every
now
day.
so curated.
It's so
curated. But I
curated.
say this to all the artists I work with too, especially my sister, who you might know is a musician.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
Don't be so sensitive about the stuff you need to post. Post your work. Get seen.
Yeah.
Get noticed.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about the caption so much. Just post it.
Yep.
But
yep.
you're blessed. You're doing a lot of amazing projects.
Yes, I'm very
And,
lucky.
As a person with like a Taiwanese American upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
how does your culture, your life experience as a woman in this journey, in this business, influence your work? How does that reflect in the way you think as a creative?
That is such a great question. So I'm a third culture kid. I was
Yep.
born in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And then we moved to.
Oh my God, slight connection here. I grew up in Netherlands as well.
Shut up, where?
In Zwolle, in
Zwolle?
Amsterdam. Yes, born in India, grew up in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and Amsterdam for a little bit.
Oh my
But
God.
Dad worked for a Dutch company, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
jij bent mooi.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you were born in
I was born in Rotterdam.
Okay.
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam.
And how old were you when
I
you
was
moved here?
I was 7 when I moved to the East Coast with my family. I'm
Where?
an only child, New Jersey.
Jersey girl.
Princeton.
I'm from New York, New Jersey, and
Shut
Connecticut.
the fuck up.
Yep.
Are we having the
Continue.
same? Bitch.
Are you my sister?
Oh, we could be. We could be. And then when I was 14, we moved to California. And then when I was 18, my parents are like, we hate it here. Bye. So they went back to Taiwan. And the thing is, I've always felt like a transplant my entire life. You know, I've moved constantly. I don't have any siblings. I had to relearn languages. I had to learn languages. And then they would always take me to Taiwan every single year to make sure that I'm familiar with my roots. And that's so important, right? So I always felt like an outsider. My family, I was the only one in my generation to be out of Taiwan. So I'm like that weird foreigner, you know, cousin. And then
Not Taiwanese, enough
No.
for Taiwan, not American enough for America.
exactly. And it's just like weird because when I was learning ESL, right, I was in ESL trying to learn English and I was just like, hello, can I have a sheet of paper? You know, like I'm European, you know, like just weird pronunciation.
European.
Yeah. And then so everybody would just see me as like this kooky, strange kid. And I realized that this struggle, this pain of like needing to acclimate, needing to start over and being bullied, you know, I just felt like, wait a second. We are all the same, you know, like we're all the same no matter where we go. There's beautiful cultural differences, but what human beings want and desire and what we fear is universal. So it all ties into the work that I do now, which is, you know, talking about personal growth and also filmmaking,
Yes.
right? Which is a tool for healing and like having the courage to explore these like more vulnerable moments in people, right? So I think with that, it's like, I think that culture and experiences are a layer, but at the very root of it, it's like we're all the same.
It's just human.
We're just human.
It's a human experience.
Yes, and I'm really grateful because I know it's a form of privilege to be able to live in so many different places and breathe different types of climates. But like, and maybe I felt alone for a long time, but now I feel connected to people more than ever because
Cheers
of
to that.
I love that.
to that.
And you know what? It touched me. It touched what you just said because sometimes over and above that layer of the cultural experience, say we're all having, right? As Indian American, Taiwanese American, Lebanese American. With I'm a third culture kid as well. You know, grew up in different parts of the world, but I think the current experience of being in the industry, being a filmmaker, being an actor, director, being, you know, a music mom, these experiences bind us even more and they rise to the surface. So at the end of the day, it's that collective experience as a human in what we're doing right now, in this journey. That
Totally.
is so much more imperative and important for me to talk about. Than even, you know, the cultural experience is there, but that is a part of it.
You know,
only like
one of my favorite analogies that I've come up with is, you know, when I talk about making a movie, it's like you can have a rotten piece of steak, $5 expired Walmart steak,
Yeah.
right? You have YU that takes time to massage and be
Right.
treated well, right? And then when it comes to a script or any piece of art for the matter, right? Or you yourself as a person, no matter how much seasoning you put on the rotten piece of steak, how much you try to make it taste
Right.
better, you will always have that stink.
yeah.
Ooh, that's a
But-
good analogy.
Yeah.
No, but the
Yeah.
YU is very simple. Like
Right.
it is well marinated, well
The
processed.
foundation is
Yeah,
there.
the foundation's very firm, but you just need maybe a little bit of salt, maybe not even a salt, you know, like, and so that's how I approach everything now. It's like, you are you. Filmmaking is not my identity. It's an extension of myself.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
it's like who we are now, podcasting. It's an extension of myself. Crochet is an extension of myself.
What? You crochet
I am a crochet queen. I'm a crochet queen.
Excuse
Some of
me,
your
what?
crochet
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
Have
yeah.
you crocheted your cat something?
How
I've crocheted my dog. I've
Your dog,
crocheted
you
my
have a
dog.
dog.
Oh, you
Yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
dog.
I have crazy hats. But yeah, everything is an extension of you. But who I am, who Roxy is this right here, right now. It's just like being able to convey the universal experience through me and those around me and being and understanding my gift, which I'm so lucky to have found, and just give it away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, gift the gift.
I don't know. It's reminding me. I'll talk later about your other gifts in the spiritual world as well. Want to definitely dive into that.
Oh, it's so important. Filmmaking is such a spiritual experience.
Yeah, I mean, like just listening to you talk and seeing you right here, and we're gonna have like clips for people to see as well. But they're listening to you. I feel like you were, brought in for like an extra special energy to be sharing with all of us through your stories, through the things you're creating.
Thank you so
giving me
much,
Many
Kavita.
Lives, Many Masters moment. That book I read. That one of my favorite life books is Many Lives, Many Masters.
Yes.
And people walk amongst us with these special things that they're sharing, and we don't see it when they're happening. We realize it, when we
After
reflect.
the fact.
Yeah.
And you don't want to realize it too late.
Yeah.
No.
It takes reflection, though. That's it.
So, Roxy,
Wow.
you've had a great foundation with your directing and writing to great success with an Emmy and Critics' Choice nomination. But what would you tell to that young Roxy starting out just as a kid?
The flight attendant one that's like, why haven't you become a flight attendant yet?
What would you say to that little girl?
Man.
You may have won an Emmy, but you're not yet a flight attendant.
I would say, oh gosh, it's so weird because when you remember your 12-year-old self fantasizing about where you would be now.
Yeah.
Journaling, fantasizing, yeah.
What did you imagine you would be?
Doing this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw nothing
Okay.
when I was a 12-year-old. I saw nothing when I tried to connect with my future self. And I talk to her every day, but I'm just like, bitch, it's going to be even bigger and better than you've ever imagined.
Oh,
It's gonna
you couldn't
be
have imagined
so-
it.
No, I'm like, you meet Hercules, you meet Andrew Garfield, I'm like, you meet beyond who you think you meet. Like, it's so strange. It's like all of it's an energetic shift, and all of it is a radical, unconditional permission and letting go of yourself to be fully and truly you without compromise and without fear. Just radical.
Wow,
I love the word
to that.
permission.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be ugly.
Be yourself. Be yourself. There's nothing like being your true, authentic self.
Yeah.
An incredible director, writer, artist,
Gorgeous,
multi-hyphenate,
brilliant.
sidekick, teacher, crocheter.
No, you know what? You just inspired me. I'm just going to be walking with like just a higher sense of myself
Good.
after our conversation.
Yes.
And you may not know that you did this, but you moved me with your story.
Thank you, Kavita.
Want to just hear a little more about you and your background and your story today. And I feel like we need to have another episode for that.
Yes. Oh
Because
my
one
gosh,
is not
the whole
enough.
Season on Roxy.
Stop
The season
it.
of Roxy. Roxy,
Share more.
before we move on to our next topic with you and dive deep in, would you play a game of trivia with
Love,
us?
love.
Yes. Okay. So let's play trivia.
Trivia.
So today's trivia question: which Taiwanese American director helmed several installments of the Fast and Furious franchise, including Fast 5 and Fast and Furious
Justin
6?
Lin.
Ding, ding, ding. No need for multiple choice. It was just.
I know all the
I
Taiwanese.
know, bitch, I know the answers.
How did you know about Justin Lin?
Well, okay, another thing to check off my resume, I was one of the co-founders and festival directors of the Taiwanese American Film Festival.
Let's talk
shit.
about the Taiwanese American Film Festival. Let's
just-
talk about it,
Yeah,
Roxy.
yeah.
You have more
founded
than
this film
24 hours in your
festival.
day.
Well, okay, that was in my 20s when I was crazy. Okay, now I do nothing. All right, like I was.
That's a lie.
You founded the festival, though. Yeah.
Founded the festival. We were sold out both years. We got a presidential visit from Taiwan.
Wow,
The second year we got
Hello.
and then my mom's like, so what? It's just the president of Taiwan, not a big deal. And I was just like,
That's
you.
an Asian mom.
You
Your mom
understand?
is
I just want validation from her that I will never get.
no, and I mean, hey, you know
know.
what?
Is the festival still
Asian
running?
women.
The thing about bringing it back because it went away after the pandemic.
Okay.
And we wanted to hand it off because I have no bandwidth and I was focusing on bigger things. And but I haven't been in the conversation to bring it back. But I just trust whose ever hands it's in, like that they do a good job and commit to the community.
That's awesome. Commit to the
love
community.
it.
It's such
Yeah.
a great tool for the community.
Yes.
Awesome. I love
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about your spiritual work. It's so important for any artist to really be connected to that spiritual,
100.
Visceral chord. And you also, work with the divine. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So during the everything happened during
Everything-
everything happened during the pandemic, didn't it? You face the dark night of the soul. Raise your hand if you face the dark night of the soul during the pandemic.
Raise your drink.
Raise your drink if you did.
I
I think we
did,
all
I did. Yeah.
But I I think what happened was, it was not only was the world falling apart, but me emotionally, I was falling apart. Personally, I was falling apart. Relationships were falling apart. My money was just not there. And also, you're just like, what are we going to do with the industry now? Like, was this all a mistake? Like, should I have done something more profitable for myself?
Been a doctor?
Yeah.
Doctor or lawyer.
No, actually, for
And get my dad's voice out of my
Not really
head.
COVID. Bad
I think
example.
the three of us are being triggered right now.
Yeah.
With this, but then when you're alone, it's like we were having this conversation before this podcast episode started. Was the importance of practicing solitude, because that's when you face your demons, right? And then so I started being really pulled to tarot, like in an unspeakable way. Like anytime I saw a deck, it would speak to me, right? And I'm like, I want to fuck with you, right? And the thing is, we all have psychic abilities. Intuition is a psychic ability, right? You have clairvoyance,
That gut
clairaudience,
feeling.
yeah,
Your gut.
absolutely, or clairsentience, which is what I have, which is a deep state of knowing. So it's crazy, because the more you nurture these intuitions and these psychic abilities, the stronger you get. And you can also create boundaries, because some people are afraid. They're like, what if I see ghosts? And like, what if I hear things, right? The thing is, if you tell yourself nothing can hurt you, nothing can hurt you, right? Like, it's not just practicing in the reality, it's also practicing in the metaphysical world, right? So energy is a very real thing. Why is it that we're all like super high and super down? Right
People
now,
say vibes, good vibes. They're talking about vibrations.
Correct.
They're talking about energy.
That's energy. Everything in life is energetic work, right? So then once I started practicing tarot and I started reading for people were shook to their core. And at first I was just like, you're just being nice, or you're my friend. But I was able to see things. I was able to get information. I was hearing words, like my friend who was a widow, I connected with her past husband, and I blacked out at some point, and we were holding each other at the end. And apparently I was saying things that he used to say all the time.
Oh, I have
And-
goosebumps right now.
Goosebumps,
Full
yes,
body
and
I
chills.
believe that
FBC,
continue,
full
but-
body
yeah.
chills.
Anyways, I know that's a story for another time, but it made you realize how much were you repressing yourself and your abilities your entire life, because other people have been saying either you're not good enough or you start to believe that you don't have these magical abilities, right? So then I started thinking about like, okay, well, if I have access to this information, what do I do with it? And it's all coming from you. It's you. You have the answer, right? So it's like whenever you get into an obstacle, whether it's with your acting, your career, or on set, and you're like, we lost this location, blah, blah, blah. The answers are within you, And so you walk with your higher self at all times. There is no God outside of us. The God is inside all of us. And I'm not being religious here, that's a separate conversation. But it's like you are a goddess, you are a God. There is something that exists within
There's
you.
something
that guides
holy
in all
and
of us.
special and unique about
Always
you.
beautiful.
Each one of us is a snowflake.
Exactly.
Right? And snowflakes are super
I
unique.
love snowflakes.
Yeah.
And so the thing is that like when a lot of my students, they're just like, oh, I want to make this like super high production value, and it needs to have like really good VFX, and it needs to have be shot on an RE like large frame rate camera. I'm just like, okay, but strip that all away, and what do you got? What is the core of it? What is the message? What is the theme? Because if you don't have that, you have a rotten steak, and you have all these seasonings that still make it taste like shit.
It's like being rich and not having any friends to spend the money with.
Yes. So it's all a practice, right? Like all of life is about you taking away all those seasonings and investigating whether or not your meat is ripe for harvesting, right? And whether or not you're just like, hey, I need to spend some time with this. It's too early. It's past expired. I let it sit for too long, right? All of it is you have to be accountable for yourself and your own well-being, and then everything else will happen naturally after that. Because if you try to just cover it up with more seasoning and you're just like, I'm just going to chase it, I'm just going to get it, and then you start to get imposter syndrome or you become a narcissist, one or the other.
One or the other.
It's
will happen if that
it will
ends up-
happen.
yeah.
Life will still find a way to confront you and be like, yo, you got to face yourself.
Yeah.
So do it earlier rather
Do
than
it
later.
earlier rather than later.
Oh
my
You have to face your demons. You hear that phrase a lot, facing your demons.
Totally.
And it sounds like from you, what I took away from this is, if you really want to get to know yourself a little better and capitalize on what makes you unique, you have to sit in the silence and listen to what you're saying to yourself.
You had the opportunity to look inward in that time, right?
Can I ask you both a question?
Yeah.
When you were younger, whose voice did you hear in your head?
I want to say probably my mother's. I mean, I think I heard my mom's voice often.
And who did you hear?
My mom. And I lost my mom last year.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And I happened to meet a clairvoyant, not by choice or not by happenstance. She was at an event and I had the most unbelievable connection with my mother through the clairvoyant. And she said things that only someone that knows my mom very well would know. Nobody in that room would have known. There were 25 women in that room. It was a baby shower, and I wouldn't even share the story if it wasn't for the fact that my daughter was there, 25 women were there, and that they all felt it. It was unbelievable. So
she's still here, you know. Yeah. So it's amazing. It's like, oh, your mothers were your first voices, right? For me, I heard everyone's voice but my own. Right? So you got to separate from your mother.
Yes.
You got to separate from, for me, it's all my peers' opinions.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what do I sound like? You know, like in those moments of solitude, just being like, what do I hear? And when you hear nothing, that's when your voice can start slowly coming back.
That's how you find your voice.
So if you don't start looking inward and quiet the outside noise a little bit, that's the work that you're not yet doing.
Exactly.
It's the work that needs to get
You're
done.
just masking,
We're
honey.
pushing off.
It's
Oh my
hard, and
God.
that's exhausting in its own way. You don't realize it until you
It's
actually
taxing.
realize
It's in its own
Yeah.
way. Do you suggest like journaling?
Bringing us the
or-
damn truth.
What do you suggest, like maybe for someone trying to get more in touch, journaling or just talking it out, or just time in silence, meditating?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It's different for everyone. Like
Yeah.
literally, I've done over 5,000 readings for people, and everyone is different. You know, like for some people, for me, I really like sound bowls because they drown out all the voices in my head, so that I don't hear anything anymore. I could just feel my body. With some people, journaling works. For some people, just talking it out works, because you know why talking is important is because you could put a name to the devil. You could put language to your experience, and when you can identify it with language, that's when the revelations start happening, and that's when clarity and truth come in. You know what I'm saying?
I know what
That's
you're
why you
saying.
said it's different for
It's
different
different
people.
for
so you have to
everyone.
find your
Your method
of looking inward and connecting with yourself.
I'm a horrible meditator, guys, but like I find meditation through cooking.
Yeah.
It's another way for you to get in the zone. We've had such a great episode talking to you today, Roxy. We're at our last
Special gift,
segment.
Roxy.
Yes, and the special gifts you've had, just sharing your journey with us. You are a multi-hyphenate. We've laughed about it this episode, but the truth and the fact of the matter is, you are the true artist. You do so many things. You know, no day is the same as the next.
No.
You said you have 8 jobs plus.
And I think that's totally actually normal in our business
Yeah. I
industry.
love it.
We're
Yeah.
not taught that in school. It's not shown in the standard
Yeah.
9 to 5, but you're doing it. And You're doing the things you should be doing, and you're elevating.
Yeah.
So tell us, because we only have a little bit of time left, and we need to get to the other compartments. Let's hear about crochet.
Oh, yes.
And let's hear about your podcast.
Okay, so my crochet, I picked up crochet like August of last year, and that's because I had a very tumultuous and very difficult shoot for my last feature. Like it challenged me in ways beyond understanding. Like it felt cursed, but also it's the best movie I've ever made. And then the strikes happened after I flew back from Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And I needed to feel that I had creative control over something. Like I needed to feel that it wasn't the whole world against me. So I picked up crochet, and this thing, my creativity just went fucking berserk. Like I crochet everything. I crochet cardigans, crazy hats, bags, like anything, like covers, pillow covers, like whatever. And now I want to crochet my gown for my premiere, my movie premiere.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it's just again, you're talking
When is
about,
that going to be?
It's going to be in June.
Okay.
I can't say.
Okay.
But it's exciting. That's
Yes.
all I can
Exciting,
say.
yes.
More to be coming, and
More
we can
to be
follow you like we
coming.
talked
Follow you.
about on Instagram
Yeah.
at Roxy Shih, spelled ROXYSHIH.
Yes.
Yes, and then your podcast,
Yeah.
Horny Goats. What do you talk about on the podcast?
Oh my gosh, everything. It's a really safe. It's with me with one of my best friends, and it's wild because I never thought our friendship could go so deep, like even deeper than, because she basically what it is we are both Taiwanese American Capricorns. I am queer, poly, right, and completely just on the other side of the spectrum. She's a pastor's kid, you know, grew up with a very strict like Christianity background. She's married, right, heterosexual.
Is she in the industry or?
Yeah, she's a singer.
Okay.
And so the
cool.
thing is that like we try to intersect in these conversations of ultimate safety. So it's just like anything that you want to talk about, I will hold you. So we talk about the myth of virginity, we talk about our mothers, we talk about personal growth, anything, but it's literally, we won like the best, not won, we were nominated for best co-hosts for like the Asian Podcast Awards our very first year, and we have this amazing chemistry, and it's really fun. It's like this, you know, it's like this, like sparkly, but also like devastatingly layered. But you know, I'm really proud of the podcast. It has allowed me to grow even more as a human being, and has allowed me, and I'm just so grateful to have Priska, you know, as one of my best friends, and it's really taught me a lot. So I hope that you listen to it if you want to.
I will.
And isn't it fun to make a podcast with your bestie?
Aww.
Bestie, I love you, Kavita. I love
See,
you.
show the love, give gratitude.
It's what you said, right? It is uncovering layers of yourself that you don't know, digging deep inside, but in the comfort zone of a friendship.
Yes.
Comfort zone of talking to your bestie and like figuring things out for yourself that may help others. You don't even know how it's helping others, but it is. You know?
I'm an only child. She's the oldest daughter. So we never felt like we had older sisters being able to have these difficult conversations with us. So we approach these topics as if we have younger sisters in the room with us or non-binary people, you know, and then so we've had our demographics actually pretty intense, and we've gotten so many letters from around the world, and you never know the difference you're making. Like there's a person at a coffee shop that I met that said that, you know, she actually had a very hard conversation with her best friend because of our podcast. And so,
just literally,
you never know what kind of
Gotta
change you can make, you know, but if you never take action, you will never know. And last thing I want to say is that, like, failure does not exist. Failure is not real. Like, failure is just information, you know, so that you could continue to take action. The only failure is when you give up on yourself.
Ooh, one more time. When is the only failure?
When you give up on yourself,
Yes. And so we will not give up.
No.
Roxy, don't give up yourself.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. I can't
will.
wait
I am
for, you know,
so
the
excited.
summer so we can hear about this super secret project.
Yeah, I'm excited. This movie's so good.
Yes. Oh my God. I can't wait.
It's
And
giving me-
thank you.
It's giving me fabulous energy.
Yes.
Roxy, I am moved.
Thank
I
you.
think our listeners are going to be obsessed.
I love it.
Amazing. We have to have you back again.
Okay.
Because I think we've just touched the tip of the
We'll
iceberg.
talk about the new movie
We'll
next
talk about the
time.
movie
Yes,
the next
we'll talk
time
about
you
the
come
movie next
back.
time. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank
you
your
for
having
numerous
me.
gifts with us.
Thank
Oh my
you.
God, the list was endless.
Thank you.
And how do I book a psychic reading with you?
Sun Queen Tarot on Instagram.
Damn.
One more time.
look
Send
at
the
that.
Queen.
Sun, like
Sun.
the sun, Queen Tarot.
Sun Queen Tarot. Awesome.
I love it.
And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok
At
at Lights Camera Conversation. See, we're so honored that you're our final
are
guest.
Our last guest for the first season.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
That puts you in a very, very elevated spot, and we are truly walking away with a different kind
Yes.
of feeling.
And we'll see you next time. I'm Walid Chaya.
I'm Kavita Raj.
And this is Lights
Camera
Convo.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Cheers.